Well, welcome. Episode 1, NORTHFIT podcast. But a big thing today, and I suppose the purpose of this, like we were talking about, is to promote and put a spotlight on our members in the community that train with us, and the success that they've seen since they've kind of came on board and started training with us, and everything that they've brought with them, all those previous experiences and all the things they've tried that made it quite difficult for them, and then their time with us and how that's been a success and how they continue to train and see progress. But today's episode is more about meeting the team, and for us putting a wee bit more background into us as coaches and individuals, and our roles within within the team, and how that all kind of contributes to helping the member base and supporting them with their training. So I'll kick it off and introduce myself. I'm Kieran. I'm the owner and head coach of NORTHFIT. I've been personal training for 12, nearly 13 years. NORTHFIT is up and running nearly 3.5 years in the Mount Lennox building on the Antrim Road. And I suppose the purpose of NORTHFIT initially for me was an extension of a career that was built within a different gym. But it was that kind of move into can I do my own thing, and can I actually create something in this community within North Belfast that offers a truly kind of one-to-one personal training experience within a group environment. We all see the small group personal training or group training, and that was something that just didn't sit too well with me. And that was the motivator and the driver behind NORTHFIT opening its doors in November 2021. And to this day, we've continued to grow within the community, and we've grown a really strong members base, within this postcode, within this location on the Antrim Road here, which we're very lucky to have. But that's kind of the central part, is the fact that it's a very unique kind of one-to-one training experience, but within a group environment, which kind of gives that energy and that supportive community feel. Sean?
I'm Sean, and I've been coaching at NORTHFIT for just under 3 years. Started coaching just over 3 years ago in another gym, is quite similar to Kieran. Maybe not as experienced, but on the path to be. Joined NORTHFIT November 2022 and continue to come full time here just after the following April. The goal is just keep going, doing my thing, getting bigger, getting better, broadening the horizons in this postcode, maybe even abroad the postcode.
Nice.
Reese?
And Reese, the newest member of the NORTHFIT coaching team.
I'm new to NORTHFIT, but I've been around.
You've had your moments.
I've been coaching for 6 years in various different ways. I've worked online, I've worked one-to-one, I've worked group training in a bigger environment where it was less focused. But since coming here, seeing the focus that we put on each member and how each program's individually programmed, it just clicks right. Nice. And a lot of experience coaching, but you're never done learning. So it's just always trying to get that little bit more, that extra 5%.
Nice. I think that's something that I've, again, we're all at kind of slightly different careers on our stages of our own individual kind of coaching training journeys. But I'm, like I said, about 13 years in, and probably the last 3 or 4 since kind of opening NORTHFIT's doors has probably been the most that I've kind of evolved and challenged myself to continue to grow and actually get more from those experiences, rather than just thinking, I've kind of figured it all out, which every day there's something that you're kind of coming up against and you're like, oh no, not quite sure about that thing or that person or that exercise or that conversation with a member. So I think that point's really important, where it is constantly evolving, and there's some things that you still don't know, and it's up to us, I suppose, as individuals and as a team to figure that out. The question, research, and see the way in which we can learn to have an impact on our members. That's the big thing. We'll go with Sean on this one to kick it off. What's your, why did you become a personal trainer, and what continues to kind of motivate and inspire you?
Became a personal, it sort of just fell into place. After COVID, when everything started opening up again, just started training, going to the gym. It was over in West Belfast, and was training constantly, really got in the rhythm of it. And I can't even remember what I was doing. I was scrolling, I think it was Instagram, scrolling on something, and just seeing an advertisement for a course. I thought, it's actually a bit of me. Done a bit of my research, and it just ended up coming through, and it was the best thing I did. I was lucky I seen the post.
Nice. What about yourself, Ruth?
I actually wanted to be a personal trainer from I was around 13. So I've been training in a gym since roughly 13, 14 years old. That puts me training age-wise at about 15. So a lot of people start with football, a lot of people start with sort of a sport, I was the fat kid, so I wasn't out playing sport, wasn't running about, wasn't much. I was sitting behind a computer eating Cheetos. What's it? And
Don't think you get Cheetos here, do you?
no, I definitely didn't get them there then. But yeah, I was a husky kid. Then I found a gym, found I am actually pretty good at this.
Enjoyed it?
I enjoyed training. I loved it more than I ever loved any sport. And so from a young age, I've been in and around gyms. I've trained. I tried sport after that point, sort of maybe a little bit of MMA, BJJ, sort of a lot of acronyms. And then
Contact-based stuff
yeah,
for all
just
of
a lot of beating each other up.
Yeah.
Then we moved. That's why I look like this.
Yeah. He's actually only 23.
I wish. And then I moved away from training for a long time. Got busy, was working, had kids, had a few things that just were on the plate and put a lot of weight on. So I started roughly 19 and a half, 20 stone.
I'm going to pause here. You've stole my next question. Did you have a transformation as a personal trainer? This is it.
I'm ahead of the game. I haven't even seen these questions. Yeah. But we, gained a little weight on. Me and my wife both sort of put weight on when we had our first kid, and then she lost it all and was making me look bad. So I had to
get your act together.
Had to be like, right, who's punching here, you know?
Yeah.
And I lost 8 stone, and I worked with the coach to get that. And then just sort of the impact he had on me, I learned that the people around me were having that impact by being around me. Fuck, I lost 8 stone. And then people were saying to me, oh, since I've seen you doing that, I've lost 3 or 4 stone. I've done this, I've done that. And they were making changes through contact with me. Yeah. So I thought, like, do you know what? I would love to be a part of that for someone. I would love to be in on their change, helping them learn how to operate as a normal person, not having to just eat chicken and rice every day. Like not like
typical fitness.
You're not a bodybuilder. Don't eat like one. You know, just like helping them get in shape with every day. And that's why I sort of made that jump into
That's your motivation.
Yeah.
I think for me, I was the opposite. I played loads of sports, and any sport I could get my hands on, I give it a go in school, especially in school, and then played a couple of team sports outside of school. But finished school, went to university, came back, fell into the typical 9-to-5 office job, and there was always something. There was always just something like annoying me. Being stuck at a desk for like 8-9 hours a day just wasn't gonna be my thing. So, but that went on for about 7 years, probably 7-8 years, until I finally just made the leap. And I was kind of similar to yourself, doing a lot of coaching and sports and things like that, but there wasn't an opportunity of a career there. And thought, you know what, kind of look into this personal training. I think knew a couple of people, friends of friends, who were already doing it, and kind of lent into them a wee bit for a bit of information around it, and just went for it, bit the bullet, and went full time when I was 30. Haven't looked back really. Couldn't imagine myself ever working in an office again, which would absolutely torment me. But do you have a particular training philosophy or like a style of coaching that you like?
I typically started like through the typical bodybuilder type training style, but it sort of evolved, and I would dabble my hand in most things. I would try it. If I don't like it, that's it. I just sort of go with the flow and see what I like. I like what I like.
Repetitive, you say? Same program for the last 2 years?
Same program. Where's the camera? For 4 years. Consistency is king.
And what about, how would you describe your coaching style? So how do you approach members? How do you try to get the best out of them? Do you have a particular
People would say soft. I would try and be like the friendly way to motivate them for certain people. Rory behind the camera doesn't get that softness.
I've heard other rumours. I've heard vicious rumours that you're not that way inclined. What about yourself, Reece? Do you have a particular approach or any mannerisms or any kind of traits that you want to ensure that you can kind of get the most out of that member or that group of people you're training?
One of the most said in any fitness thing is it depends. Yeah. So
covers everything.
I would call it adaptive.
Yeah, right, okay.
Hawkeye's approach, there's an arrow for every problem, whether it's a boxing glove.
Any other slogans, anything else you want to fire in there?
Whatever it is.
Seminar at the weekend.
Walking seminar, many of them. But like whenever you're sort of faced with a client, it's just very much what does this person need in this moment? Yeah. And sometimes that's not that extra weight in the bar, sometimes it's not. It's just like talk to them and where are we today? If it's not like, oh yeah, sleep's fucked, this, that, blah, blah, blah. That's like, right, okay, let's push. Do you think you could do this? It's
in the moment on the day kind of approach.
Giving them that sort of trust in themselves. Like I'm a big believer of like, I can give them the weight all they want, but if they don't believe they can do it, they're not going to do it.
They're probably not going to do it.
Building them up to it and like, showing them what they can do until it gets to the point where like, I I know I can do this. Like to pick up that heavier weight in the first set, to pick up that sort of, to stop warming up with just a bar.
Yeah.
You know, like that, giving them that trust, like trusting them enough that they start to trust themselves.
Yeah, I think that's something. No, individually, yes, but as a team, we've managed to kind of find an even ground on where. When the people walk through the door, it doesn't matter what we have in our heads or what we have in the program. They could come in, so far away from that because they're not ready. Work, kids, whatever. The list is endless. So how that program adapts to meet them rather than the other way around, and us just forcing them to do something that on the day they may not be ready for, but giving them maybe the encouragement or the right kind of motivators to help them trust themselves. I think that's pretty important there. But for me, I was very much. Very like hands-on. I learned a lot of my coaching from like practical hands-on in sessions. There's a lot of theory that needs to be applied to the stuff we do on the floor. And theory was something I had to work a hell of a lot harder on. In the background around the reading, etc., and the courses and everything else. That took a lot of energy and a lot of dedication to make sure that I was putting myself through those things. So I relied very much on on the gym floor, working with people and working with as many people as possible in order to kind of visually see how they moved and how they felt, so that you could then adapt that coaching style, but very much get in the thick of it and get your hands on to help people there and then. Is there any particular like gripes you've had over the years, like anything that you've constantly heard or been told that this is like the holy grail of fitness, like do this one thing and it's going to solve all these problems? Is there anything there that always kind of sticks front of mind?
Back squats are not the best. They're not. They're okay.
Yeah, they're a good exercise, but they're not going to solve everything. Yeah. For me, again, in my earlier days of coaching and personal training, which again, there was very much an emphasis around the nutritional side of things. Powerlifting was a big thing. Powerlifting was like overtaking the training community here within Northern Ireland. Was having a big rise, and it was turning into like solve all your problems and become a powerlifter. And it was like, really?
Give yourself more problems,
and
become a
then,
powerlifter.
And then there was a bit of CrossFit threaded in there as well. It was like, do either of these and it's all good. But nutritionally, there was this here big emphasis on, you needed to measure everything. You needed to know every macro and every micro down to the gram. You needed to measure every meal. You needed to hit protein right to the decimal. And if you didn't do that, how could you be making progress? And that was very much an approach that I kind of get sucked into in the earlier days of like, I need to provide everyone with like a perfect meal plan and look at all their meals and give them recipes and everything else. And I was just like, I can't I don't even make my own recipes. I can't cook. How can I give you a recipe?
Whenever you give anybody a meal plan, it's just a case of it could be the best meal plan ever, but see when the kids awake at 4 o'clock in the morning,
it doesn't matter.
Chocolate in the cupboard's cold. No, it's not.
It's
There's no there's no fix for that.
No, there isn't.
Just have sleep time for the kid.
What about yourself, Sean? You come from like a slightly more bodybuilding emphasis.
Right, I look at that and I'm like, well, I still do that.
Sounds
I still do that.
and it works.
Not for everyone, but for me,
Yeah.
I just think it goes in cycles. Something's the best for a year, 2, and then it changes to something else. So it's just a never-ending cycle of everyone else's philosophies are better than the other.
Yeah.
Until it's not.
And then they make full circle
And then they change the name.
they change the name.
Don't forget about that.
Change the name and then they come into something else. 1 minute to go. Any last wee snippets? Anything you want to add in? And then we're going to wrap it up. Or if you're happy enough, that's not the encourages that actually adds on.
Look at the screen.
Wee blue steel. He's in a fucking aftershave ad. Is this your Tinder profile? No. Well, thank you. No, but for us, the big thing around NORTHFIT, and like I said at the start, the purpose of it is to provide a training environment that gives you the feel and the experience of a one-to-one, but within a group environment. But it's not a gym. We're in a building that's 150 years old or something, in what essentially was a very fancy living room in someone's house at that time. So it doesn't feel like a gym. It doesn't intimidate people like a gym, which means when people come in, they feel more relaxed and more at home, which means they can enjoy your training. So that's, for me, that's the big driving force, being able to continue to do that for our members. But like we said, this is very much about members and putting the spotlight on them and highlighting their successes and highlighting how big of an impact they have on us as coaches and the community here that we're part of and on the Antrim Road. So thanks.
On that note, Joe Rogan, we're coming for you.